Hey, what's up, guys? This one's for any of you who may be experiencing some wrist, forearm, hand pain. Here's a few good tips and tricks to get rid of that. So, if we are feeling it when we're doing a lot of grabbing, a lot of times it can be tension from in that forearm, whether it's going to be on the inside or up here on the outside. We're not really sure. So, kind of the best way to figure that out is to dive into those tissues with a roller of some sort. A lot of times I'll use a little cross ball at the house, kind of like this. I'll tack that spot down and I'll roll around those tissues looking for anything that's particularly tender. We can also use our Versa roller for that. So if we attach it to the desk, get it nice and locked in place, it's a good solution for hunting around those tissues and finding those trigger points along the forearm here. So basically I like to start right above the wrist here, apply some pressure with that other hand, and start rolling upstream from that wrist as I kind of extend the wrist back that way. So I'll roll and extend at the same time, and then come back and reset. Push down, roll and extend, come back and reset. Push down, roll and extend, come back and reset. Now, if while I'm doing this, I'm in some pain or I find some points that are pretty tense, it's probably a trigger point and it may be what's causing that pain in the wrist. So we got to find that spot, tack it down, and then kind of move that hand through a big range of motion or grip, whichever one is kind of causing the source of your pain. So if you're getting pain from squeezing things, tack that spot down and now grip and kind of loosen that trigger point up while we move that hand through a range of motion. If we get it from kind of moving our wrists or moving our hands, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to tack that spot down and move our wrists through that range of motion as well. But basically, these tissues aren't moving alongside of each other the way they should, so we're going to send some pain downstream. So we're going to tack that stuff, roll through there, and find any trigger points that may be on the underside of that forearm. Now, we can do the exact same thing for the top of the forearm. It just looks a little bit more weird. We're going to turn that forearm up on top. Basically, we're trying to find this kind of line between these two muscles here, and then we're going to trace that up the forearm. And we don't have to do too much with the wrist here. We're just looking for tender spots. If we find them, we're going to tack them down and then kind of move that arm through that range of motion, just like we did on the bottom side. Now, what we're going to do next, if we've tried the Versa roller, we've gotten through all this, but we're still in a little bit of pain and maybe we didn't necessarily find any of those tissues, or maybe we just don't have access to a Versa roller, here's a few solutions for you. We can get rid of this guy, pop it off the desk, and get into something we call RPR. So basically we're gonna find those same kind of spots that we were looking for with the Versa roller, but we're gonna use our thumb to try to release them. So the first bit on the top of the forearm here is we're gonna dig our thumb in and kind of grind back and forth, looking for anything that's super tender. And when we find it, we spend a little bit extra time on it, kind of grinding back and forth. Almost feel like you're trying to drill a little bit of a hole in there with your thumb. It's not always the most pleasant feeling in the world, but it's one of those things that you can get rid of some pain pretty quick if you find the right spot. After we've done the first part here, the top of the forearm, we're going to get into just inside the elbow. So right past what a lot of people kind of think of as their funny bone, and we're going to grind up and down right against that bone on the tissue on the inside here. And if that's particularly tender, we're going to kind of trace that tender line down towards the wrist. So if we find one that's particularly tender, now let's grind and trace that spot down towards the wrist, just pushing on with the hand. And if we find any one spot that's real bad, again, we can tack it and kind of move all that through a range of motion. But sometimes the best solution for those forearm trigger points is just digging into it with our other hand and our thumb. And lastly, as far as those wrists and forearms go, we're going to hit a few stretches here real quick. The first of which, just kind of a basic stretch for the inside of those forearms. Putting both hands down on a desk, you can do it on the floor, and we're just kind of rock. So you want to breathe in, and then on that exhale, we're going to rock forward and really put a stretch on those forearms. So rocking back, breathe in, Exhale. And lean into those forearms. So from the side, kind of what that's going to look like is we're starting here. Take our exhale upon take our inhale upon our exhale. We're driving our weight in there and trying to get a big stretch along the back side of that forearm. Once we've done that, usually I'll do about 2 sets of 5 to 10 with a nice kind of extending that hold at the end range with each rep a little bit. So I'd say I'll hold like 1 second, and then by the 5th rep, I'm holding 5 seconds at the end. The next one there, we can put that back of the hand down on the table. So it kind of looks funky like that. We're going to place our other hand on the palm of the hand that's down on the table, and then we're going to rotate that forearm forward, get a big stretch across the top of that forearm, and then rotate back. Rotate forward, rotate back. And how it looks from this angle, we're going to rotate, try to spin that elbow facing forward. We feel a big stretch along here. Keep that hand pushing down, breathe and relax, and then rotate back. Make sure we do not try that with our hand down like this. That's not the one. Back of the hand down, other hand on top, rotate that elbow forward, breathe, and feel that big stretch across the front of that forearm.